Hello.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 4 of the Barshow. This week, we have a new co-host in Carina Vasquez. Soto?
Soto Velasquez.
Soto
Dean,
Vasquez.
we know each other for like 10
I just had a
years.
mind. I was like, I don't want to mispronounce it, and then I made the mistake.
You're good. You're good.
I'm so sorry. Carina. I've known Carina for a while now. For anyone that has been to Paris, Carina kind of, in my opinion, created the next generation of Parisian bartenders. You were at experimental,
Yeah,
and I remember going there, and there was experimental was like the place, and there was the Curio Parlor. There was a couple of places, but when you opened Candelaria, and again, I want to pronounce it correctly. When you opened Candelaria, like for me, that changed the game. It was like a generation that had run bars in Paris and was starting to bring it up, opening a place. And it was amazing, and it's still running. You've been running it for a long time.
Yes, 13 years.
Yeah,
next
it's
week,
amazing.
actually. Yeah.
It's so good. And every time I go to Paris, that's home. You know, you walk in and you get great service. There's a great atmosphere. You feel like it's like getting a warm cuddle because you just know it. It feels like home. So
Thank you.
for anyone that doesn't know, get down to Paris, check it out. You also got your own brand, all sorts of different things.
Well,
it's crazy.
There's a lot happened in the last 13 years.
Yeah.
In the city of Paris, even with my business partner Josh, we opened up to 5 venues, and between 2019 and 2020 we closed, and we kind of refocused our company, and we were doing into Marie Celeste and Candelaria that have been the pillars of the company, kind of really our passion projects, the ones that resemble us, and we see the difference, like the lifestyle and everything. I mean, I also, during 2020, I think everybody re-questioned themselves on how they wanted to run their business or what they wanted to continue doing. So I think it was a turning point for a lot of people, but definitely was for us. And we're very happy with the decisions we
Well, you're doing really well, and it's amazing to have you co-host on the show.
Thank you, Dean.
And Carina, do you want to introduce our guest?
Yes. So when money you're missed right now.
Yeah.
But when Monica asked me to co-host with you, Dean, and we were talking about leadership, I could bring a guest. For me, one of the persons that has inspired me the most in my career as a bartender, and I met her in 2014 when I already had bars and I was already a confirmed bartender, but when I met her and I saw her at Tales of the Cocktails in a panel with only men that were all bar owners and incredible business people, and this woman was there in her white jacket, in a fantastic presence, and she was talking the truth in that panel.
Yeah.
Everybody there was just like, oh yeah, we do this, but no, she was calling everybody and she was saying the truth, and I was in that room that was very busy, actually masterclass, and I was there and I was like, I love her. This is what I've been craving, actually. Someone that says the truth about business, about owning a bar, about how hard it is, because it is not easy, and someone that put the ego aside and is able to be vulnerable and honest in front of all these people.
Her focus was the next generation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for me, Alba Huerta is a fantastic leader in her community, also in her country. She's an award winner, bartender, bar owner, and a fantastic friend. So
amazing. Well, let's bring her in. If she's still... Yes. Okay.
I'm here. Hi.
A little bit of a delay.
Sorry.
You're far away, right?
Yes, I am. I believe it's 7 in the morning, or it's 8 in the morning where I am. But it's so good to see you guys, Carina. Thank you so much, Dean. It's so pleasure to be with you guys. It's quite an honor, actually. I was nervous. I was like, well, I don't want to miss it. You know how anxiety will strike you at the oddest times. And I was like, it was yesterday, and I was like, wait, let me do the time change again. No, it's tomorrow. So I'm so excited to be here with you guys, and thank you for having me, Carina. Your words are so lovely. we've been a decade-long friends, and I feel so much love from you all of the time, and I feel the same way about you. There's, there's a very we're friends and allies. I like to say, and there's a lot of respect and love here
No, thank you.
between the two of us.
You
Yeah.
talk about nerves. I've never been so nervous on camera until I've got you two both on the same podcast at the same time. It's actually quite scary. Now, it's really scary. Like, you seen me stutter at the beginning. I've never been so nervous. But what we're going to be talking about today, which is both of your like key topic, I think. You've got 10 years of doing it, is leadership. And we like to play a little trailer for the Campari Academy Perspectives. If you haven't seen Perspective, it's a great kind of video that captures different people's perspectives on a topic. And this week's is leadership. So we'll play you the trailer and then we'll come back and discuss it.
It's remarkable how many people are craving leadership.
Liderar en hospitalidad es muy complicado y es muy apasionante.
During the pandemic, we had to stop. For me, it's not 55 people, it's like 55 families.
You can't control what adversity is thrown at you, but you can control how you react to it, how you grow from it.
El lugar de la mujer cambió mucho en los últimos años en esta industria. Abrí mi primer bar porque ya había sido mamá.
I think we're all capable of much more than we think, especially if we have an amazing team to do it with.
You're crazy, but that's beautiful, do it.
Being a great leader is all about embracing all that comes with a team working together in pursuit of something extraordinary.
Okay,
Hola.
we're back.
We're back. Yeah.
Okay, so leadership. What does it mean to you guys? What if you had to say one word that represents leadership? What would it be?
First of all, I mean, I introduced what Alba represents to me, but I would like Alba to do a quick introduction on her background, because I think a lot of bartenders in Europe, where probably this live stream is seen the most, don't really know Alba. And that's a disgrace.
Yeah,
so
that's a good call. That's a good call.
I would like Alba, if you can do a short introduction of your background, or like where are you from and how you started, about Julep, your amazing recognition, your James Beard Award, everything. Like.
Yes. So I started bartending when I was 18 years old, because in Texas they let you serve alcohol before you can drink it. And I fully took advantage of that as a college student. So in 1998, so I'm 43, I'm turning 44 this year. And I've been if you do the math, that's how long I've been in the industry. And I've always loved it. So I like to tell people that before I was making cocktails, I was making friends, and I enjoyed my time in the bar. It really helped me develop great communication skills. I come from an immigrant family. I have, we also, I talk about this a lot, talk about immigration and the pathway to citizenship. I wouldn't be sitting here in front of you today had I not had the pathway to citizenship during that time. The way that politics have changed has really changed the landscape of that. But it's really important to know where you come from. And so I developed skills behind the bar that I had not necessarily been privy to during my upbringing. And I just learned to meet people and communicate and connect with them. And I still love that part of the industry. That's still drawn me to what I do. It's changed a little bit over the last few years. Just as you get older, things do change, and you have to continually evolve yourself if that's what you'd like to do, and I love that. So actually we're turning 10 this year. So I opened Julep in 2014. Actually after we gave that class on opening bars, Carina, because I came back and it was like the Monday after Tales that I opened Julep. So I opened it right after that, right after that year of Tales. And it's been 10 years. It's been a great learning experience of coming from being a bartender, a bar manager, and becoming an owner. There's a huge leap there. And it takes a lot of guts and it takes a lot of grit, and becoming a business owner, which it takes you a while to recognize yourself as an entrepreneur or as a business owner, because your mindset is so much in the things that you know. But I've always liked to have positive attitude towards challenge. And so my first couple of years was a lot of learning how to become a bar operator, and learning how to make things profitable, and how to make sure that everybody's getting paid, and that everybody does well. And so that was a really great experience as a person of the industry, to acknowledge how things can change, but also how you can still preserve the things that you love. Somewhere around 2018, I stopped bartending because I was the person that was not the steady person in the bar schedule, and I was like, okay, you're the odd man out. You got to get yourself out, and I've been leading from a different point since then. Everyone went through the pandemic, and we were no stranger to the hurdles of that. We somehow still survived and made it work. And in 2022, we received the Outstanding Bar Program James Beard Award. And I can tell you that after, I guess at that point, I've been operating for 8.5 years. It really brought a new sense of eyes on us again. So I don't know that every bar has the luck to do that. You know, we don't. We had luck. So many reasons why this had materialized, but ultimately that changed the way that the business ran, because all of a sudden we saw a massive amount of numbers, and then again learning how to operate a business that's doing a massive volume again. So the learning curve of the bar has been I'm ultimately so appreciative to Julep as an entity for teaching me so many things, and we're kind of shaping me into who I've become, you know.
Nice. So it sounds from what you said like your style of leadership is to lead from the front. You said that, 2018 you stopped working behind the bar because you couldn't be on point all the time. You had to do different things. Would you say that that's your style of leadership, like leading from the front, like showing how it's done?
I don't know. So there's an internal and external critic to any leader, right? There's your internal dialogue, and then you have your external variables telling you what you're doing right and wrong. I would say that my style of leadership now is very much focused on how to have a strong, like your values will give you a very strong vision, and I definitely have a better presence on the outside of the bar due to the fact that I manage a business pretty much 90% of my time,
Yeah.
and but that 10% of when I am managing people in the bar, teaching them skills, or teaching them, even if it's something as simple as like how to cost things, and teaching them those parts of the job, that 10% gives me life. So it's really hard for me to acknowledge where I land, because there's the things that feed your soul, and then the things that feed everyone else. Because when you're a business owner, you're responsible for, the idea that I don't work for anyone is not, I don't know. Carina talked about how I'm pretty honest. I feel like honesty is the hardest language to speak sometimes. And to tell people that I don't work for anyone, I think is dishonest. I feel like I work for the government. I pay taxes. I pay a lot of taxes. I have, when I wake up and I'm like, I think about how to carry on with my business. I think about all of the people that are involved. I think about their families. So I don't know that I don't work for someone. I don't know that's true, but I do feel like the things that drive me are definitely it's a connection to to your team. You can't be a leader if you don't have a team. You know, that's not, those two things are, they go hand in hand. You can't like know success if you don't know failure. Like those things
Yeah.
also go hand in hand. And there's a lot of reconciliation of these things, but to say that I don't work for anyone, I think that's a misunderstanding of how my time is spent every day.
I know that feeling. I'm freelance, but now my boss is my 4-month-old daughter, and she
Yeah.
doesn't. She will not compromise on anything. She gets what she wants. So yeah, I mean, I don't run a team. It's been a long time since I ran a team, but yeah, I can imagine that feeling of working for your team being key to it.
No, and I think removing yourself from, for example, if you have a cocktail bar and the heart of your business is cocktails, and I think after a time when the owner is constantly the person driving this, there's a moment where your team itself feel that they're also not, they're there for you, but they're not progressing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like there's a moment where, in my experience at least, I learned a craft, I love it, but I did not evolve on that craft. I stayed on one generation of making cocktails. Then I had team members that joined, and I removed myself from behind the bar to allow them do their programs. Obviously, we are there behind. I was always informed what was going on because I was judging cocktail competitions. I was doing masterclass. I go to Barshow, and I take my team with me constantly.
Yeah.
So it was I'm updated, but I want to see what they can do, because I believe anyway that for absolutely everything, the next generation is the one that needs to drive on. If you want to have a long-term business and more in the industry we're in, you need to have a power. I mean, you need to have people that are trained and they are knowledgeable, and they want to also take risks themselves in your own place, in your venue.
Like you said about being able to fail. You know, like you learn more from mistakes than you do from watching someone never make a mistake.
100%. And we allowed our staff to make mistakes in our venues. It's part of it. It's part of the learning curve. And then you are there to support them and to
pick up the pieces. Yeah.
Exactly. Because we have done that before too. I mean, and at the end of the day, even today, when as myself, I'm not at the day-to-day operation or day-to-day basis in my venues. I mean, I do know what's happening, obviously, all the time, but I have a more an observation role, and a listening role. What I think it's amazing because it connects me with the staff in a very different way.
Yeah. So you'd say that being a leader, the role evolves as you continue to do it, because if you're bringing the next generation up and you're giving them, you're empowering them, they're going to start taking some of your roles away from you, and doing it. So you're kind of, would you find that your role has evolved constantly? Is that
most certainly. I feel like in terms of team building, which is a big part of how of leadership and communication, and how to continue to have like we are working in a creative art here that you know, there's a lot of other things affecting it, like hospitality and how we build spaces and design. And so there's a lot of things that are affecting a business that's not just the one cocktail that we're making or the food that we're serving, but that is the creative art. And in order to continue to be creative, you have to set up different programs to be able to foster that. And you can't just say, hey, here's this, I need you to be creative and make this. Like, that's not how creativity works. And so as someone who recognizes that, you know, like Carina said, the next generation of of the community and your staff and even your business depends on giving the opportunity for other people to try different things. And what's beautiful sometimes about that is that and even as a leader, this is probably, I love this feeling where you're like, oh, that's so cool, I would have never thought of that. Because I love to be surrounded by people. Like, I want people to do better, bigger things than I've ever done. Like, everybody who comes through my
Yeah.
doors, and I'm like, do bigger things. Like, dream bigger.
And you get to be
Do
proud of
and
them.
be.
You
Yeah.
remember, Alba, when we were talking about our head bartenders at the time? You had Kenny, and I
Yeah.
remember, and with my team at the time, it was Ivan and Seb, and I mean, it's a couple of years ago already, but we were talking about how we loved that to see in them that they were better than us, like they're better than
Yeah.
us. And
They're better
that
than us.
is when you recognize that, but that's again is I think putting your ego aside
Yeah, yeah.
and recognize that there's people that have other set of skills and that have a amazing creativity, but more than that, have amazing ideas, and they can bring new things to the table, to your venue, to your team, allowing them doing that, even if maybe not everything is gonna work, but you're there to support that, and I think that is what makes long-term healthy businesses. It makes strong teams. And I remember having this conversation with you. We were like, yeah, we just need to hire people who are better than us always. And but you know,
I still believe in that.
Easy to find people that are better than you all the time.
There is a lot. I mean, I think my management today. I mean, I don't know if Jenny or Carlos are gonna watch this, but Jenny and Carlos that have been working with us for 11 years.
Yeah.
I mean, they're definitely
Carlos is better than
us at
us.
this
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
I mean,
I can
are you
attest
kidding?
to the
Josh
fact
and I
that
are a
Carlos is
joke.
better.
Like Carlos, he's amazing. He's
They're
been
both,
so good for so
they're
long.
both monsters of management at this point because they have, and the thing is, I'm extremely grateful because they have been with us through hell and back.
Yeah.
Like they have not left us.
Yeah, that's real family
in the
kind of
hardest
feeling.
moments of our company because we went to, I mean, we there was a moment I had 130 employees in France. I mean, it's like heavy. It's not fun.
Yeah.
That sounds like crazy headaches.
Yeah, it was a lot of headaches. So so they have been with us through hell and back, and the fact that they stick with us and they were like, okay, we're gonna get out of this, and today we're in a more healthy environment situation with different ideas, etc. They're still with us, and
I hope you guys are still all together in 10 years. It'd be
I mean, who
amazing to
knows?
see a
Who knows?
20th anniversary. Now,
But-
you said hell and back, and I'm going to make a very bad segue to Satan's Whiskers.
That was actually a very good segue.
Right? I was like, there's an opportunity to interrupt really badly. So the next, we obviously talked perspectives, talked about leadership, but the next half of the show, the podcast, is talking about techniques. And we have Daniel Wadi, author of Round Building. If you don't have the book, it's amazing. Talking about, wash lines. So yeah, let's tune in on that.
Hey, we are back in Satan's Whiskers today to talk a little bit about two simple ideas of drinks presentation to make sure that everything's going out looking tidy, looking nice in that Instagram photo. These ideas are wash lines and ice lines. Now, what do I mean by a wash line? A wash line is simply the level that the liquid is coming up to in the glass. Now, we can see here I've got various different glasses, various different ice types, but pretty universally, liquid is sitting perhaps a finger below the top. And that could be a glass with no ice, could be these various different ices, be it cubed, crushed, sort of cut ice there. And all that means is that when that's going out on the tray, it's not too full, there's no risk of it spilling, but also it doesn't look like I'm ripping somebody off and the level's too low. The second idea, when I say ice line, I'm just thinking about how the ice is sitting in the glass, particularly around the top there. But the idea is that you've got enough ice in the glass that it's touching the bottom. So we've got that there. If I want to place a garnish in the top of the glass, it will sit nicely. And that could be same with your spear of ice there, same with the crushed ice. But also, I don't want to have too much. Because if you send a drink out like that, guests can't drink it without getting hit in the nose. All they're going to do is put that on your bar top where it's going to melt. But irrespective of what glasses you're using and what kind of ice, just by thinking about those two ideas, you can make sure that things look nice, and the ice is keeping the drink cold. So in conclusion, we want to make sure that your drink is designed to fit inside the glass that you're going to serve it in, so that there's not too much and it isn't going to spill, but there's enough in there that the guest feels like they're getting value and the ice is doing what it needs to do. Thank you.
Okay, and we're back. So what did you think, Alba? Did you like Dan's take on wash lines?
I love that. I actually just went on Amazon and bought his book. I feel
I did
like
the same with yours.
no, you got
I
to
bought
do
your
things.
book as
You
well.
know, you got to make that to-do list small. You got to shorten that to-do list. I feel like whenever I'm decided, I'm like, oh, I got to buy that book. Let's get on Amazon. Blah, blah, done. It arrives and it surprises me because I've already gone on to do another 100 other things on my to-do list. So
Yeah.
I don't sit on things. I don't sit on things as much as I used to, which I really love. I think that's a part of it. I love talking about growing older in this industry. I don't think we talk about it enough. Like even when we had our break, it's like Carina's like, I have a 2.5-year-old. Like I don't get to do those things anymore. And Dean, the same with your baby. And it's like, as we talk about growing older, I think there's definitely lifestyle changes that happen. There's definitely like your needs and the way you spend your time, and also like as somebody in their 40s in this industry, like I do feel like I'm shooting at things. My goals are a lot clearer than they were maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think
I
that's
feel that
valuable.
I'm definitely clear on the things I do and don't want to do. I'm still figuring out how to just do the things I want to do, like properly. Yeah. But I definitely, are you in the same?
We're good.
Same
We're good at saying no.
Are we all the same decade of age?
Probably. Yeah. We're very close.
I'm 43. I was born in 1980.
I'm an 81 baby. So I'm 42.
All right.
Young, I'm the 85, 39, but it feels like 60 inside.
Yeah.
But what I found fascinating about this book coming out last year and how much it has created this revolution of the techniques from the most things that are simple, that we don't talk about it when you meet other bartenders, but in your team, in your cotidianity, like for wash lines is like the one thing that is so complicated. Every time you change glassware in your bar, or they're like creating this cocktail,
there's exactly the like changing glassware and having an ice. So the ice here is cut ice machine. It's from Ice Studio London. Like they deliver it here, so I've got it in the freezer, so it's perfect every single time, and I know exactly that it goes in the glass. But if the glass changes and the size changes a little bit, it throws out the wash line. You've got to change the whole. It changes the GP of the drink as well. It's a huge thing. And Dan worked at Milk and Honey, so do you know like obviously drink classics, right? Like I just learned classics in the early 2000s and just won't move on from it. I'm just waiting for them to come back around. But at Milk and Honey, we were so anal about every tiny little detail, and I felt like that disappeared. Everything became Instagram and like cool looking, and the garnishes got really big, and like you had the nightjar, insane garnishes, and artesian, like literally the cups were garnishes, and then the garnishes disappeared, and now all the drinks look the same. Do you know? Minimalist, and all those things changed, and I felt like those tiny nuances of like wash lines and getting the aeration in a shake right and everything just disappeared, and that book kind of brought it back, brought the conversation back into play. And
that's also perception value from the consumer, and I think he mentioned it in the video. Like it's so important. We love what we do, but we got to sell drinks for us to get paid. Like the drinks have to be sold over the bar for everybody to get paid. That's just basic math. And the communication of the wash line is a communication to your guests. Perception value is really important. And that can also affect price changes. It can also affect the price on your menu. And all of the value of understanding that, I think, is you're right, it gets lost a little bit in the trends and the art of it.
Yeah, and the trend, like I find, obviously, you guys would know, bartending in 2000 compared to bartending now, very different kettle of fish. And one of the things I see sometimes on socials, like you see the people like, oh, the bartender totally ripped us off. Look how much space this ice takes. Like the drink is tiny.
If I take this ice, it's gonna be like here.
It completely blows my mind because I forgot all about, being 18 or 21 and starting drinking and not understanding that the reason it's a small drink is because it's a powerful drink and you're supposed to sip it, as opposed to, obviously if I got a sour and it was a big, tall or a fizz, it would be a different conversation. But for me, the wash line's important because we've moved to block ice and
not really.
bigger things.
To be honest, for me, it's important for like in a sour, in a martini. Like I want to give you an example, and I think the thing with wash line, what is very interesting, it is important for bartenders to know, but mainly what Alba says is the one thing that your customer is gonna see right away, and they need to feel happy with it.
Yeah.
It's literally your first conversation with the cocktail and the guest is the wash line. It's what I'm getting served.
There's that old saying that the tide is out, like
exactly.
where is the rest of my drink?
And I'm going to tell you an example. I have one of my best friends, when she loves Negroni. Negroni is her favorite cocktail. But she hates when ice touch her teeth.
Yeah, me too.
She has a sensitivity, she hates it. So she always orders her Negronis up. And good luck to get a wash line correct sometimes. I mean, it is actually very...
That's an interesting point.
And that is, this is one person, one example, but people have their own demands. And you need to be able as a bartender to adapt to those.
Yeah.
And to make sure that what you're serving is consistent and good. So it is important to have a clear idea of how your drink needs to look. If you're serving it up or you're serving it on rocks. There's nothing I hate the most, and even it happens in my places, and is having an extra cube that is completely useless that you're just hitting your mouth with, and you're like, oh. So we work with ice is a tool. It's an amazing tool. It's amazing. It's an ingredient, obviously. But there's a lot of education to do with ice in certain countries more than others. France is not an ice-friendly country. There's no ice culture. It's not like in Spain or even Germany where they are used to. They serve you a soda with ice when you go to a cafe. Give you, in France, they will give you a Perrier with a dead lemon and a mini ice that is like dying. There's no ice culture. So depending on the country you are, there's also a lot of education to do with ice. So obviously this trend, like this I love this beautiful trend on this ice, but you cannot expect the customer to understand what you're doing if you're not explaining why this exists. And
you forget as well globally, because there's different things in different countries. Like I moved to China in 2007. I was there for a year and a half. And when I first got there and I ordered beers in bars and I got them warm, I was like, the beer should be cold. That's like the easiest thing. How do they not? And then after about a year, I'm like, when you're in Chengdu and you're in the middle of nowhere and you're eating like the spiciest food you've ever had, you get a warm beer. And I was drinking warm beer one day and I went, oh my God, I've converted.
This is why.
It didn't even occur to me that it was warm. I was so used to it. So I forget that. You forget, because there was, at the time, it was 2007, no ice culture in some of the cocktail bars. There was like very little amount of ice. Yeah, it's wild. That's
incredible.
I have a question for you, Alba.
Yes.
Okay. So do you get asked for mint juleps all the time? And how do you manage a wash line in a mint julep?
It's so funny, but we don't anymore.
It's not a popular drink here.
And that was one of the reasons for naming the bar what it was, where it felt a lot of elements of design went into this, and also just thinking about how do we, and this is 10 years ago, how do I start a bar in a place where cocktail culture is not necessarily prevalent, but it has become that now, where you can get a cocktail just about anywhere. Every restaurant has a cocktail program. You can get an old fashioned, you can get them in julep just about anywhere in the city. But at that time it wasn't. And how do we tell people we're a cocktail bar, and how do we, without saying, hey, we're a cocktail bar?
So you put it literally in the name, so that, because for me, if I see I know straight away that's a cocktail bar. That makes a lot of
100%.
sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
if
it's a cocktail bar
someone
in
opened a bar
in
that
the
said
South.
Ramos
Yeah.
Gin Fizz, that would be crazy. That's going a little bit too far, but other than that, yeah.
There is
But it
also
wouldn't be as
something.
generally recognized as it is in regionally in the South of the United States, where you know a julep is a cocktail. If you know a Sazerac is a cocktail, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And so that the Ramos Gin Fizz might not be so apparent
As
to the
recognized, that's what
consumer.
I meant. Yeah, not only
Yeah.
is it not as recognized, but also if someone starts coming in and ordering 12 Ramoses, you're in a lot of trouble. You're in a world of hurt.
You're done. You change
Yeah.
if you're a smart operator, you do that for like a month, and then you change your name to Julep, and then
Yeah.
it's where you should have
Oh,
started from the
that is
get-go. Yeah.
one thing you said. I think in one of your presentations, it was you wanted to bring back to Houston their identity of the Southern cocktails.
Yeah.
And you're part of the Derby Festival too in Houston. No, you started organizing cocktail. Like I remember you telling me, I'm gonna work at this Derby Festival in Houston, and it's like you bringing back this identity that somehow was lost.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like as there was a kind of a balance of what is acceptable and recognized, and then what can we give you that you didn't expect. And
Yeah.
I throw a yearly derby party for almost 2,000 people. I convert my parking lot into this giant, beautiful space.
Wow.
The the first year I didn't know this was going to happen. So the first year I was like, I'm going to throw a derby party because we've been open for at that time it was like 10 months, and we need to throw a party. We need to have like yearly events that people look forward to because we're part of a community, and being a part of a community has an added layer of awareness of bringing your community to your drinking place but even as a third space that they can recognize it as a place where they go to. So and throughout the year, I would say there's an oyster shucking contest that we do,
Oh,
which is
nice.
really fun. I would call it more if there was a cross between roller derby and cockfights, that's what it's like to do the oyster shucking contest.
That sounds amazing.
But and it's so fun, and it's our chef-driven event that we do, and we do nothing. We get a bunch of chefs to just talk smack to each other, and none of them are good at shucking, which is surprising to me that they would have so much confidence. And usually some ringer comes through that actually is working in the kitchen and shucking oysters, and they win all the prizes, and
Yeah.
all the chefs come back next year. It's really it's really a great event. But everyone expects that event every year, and the Kentucky Derby
Yeah.
party was the first time that I threw a party that I was not prepared for. At that time, I think 1,000 people showed up. We were not prepared for 1,000 people. We were like, oh, what, a couple hundred, maybe 300 people, which is still a lot of people. But then we got prepared really quickly because we sold tickets just to see what the ticketing event was going to be like.
Okay.
And then just grew very quickly in the last 15 days prior to the event. And then I figured, well, if they don't show up, we sold them tickets, so we're okay. And we do that event every year, and I love those events because they bring back people that we haven't seen for a while, maybe, or people that have moved away. But there's something about the love that you get from those events where people are so grateful that
you get to give back. That's
yeah.
your opportunity to give back. I think I'm realizing we are taking a lot of your time, and we might have to wrap it up. This is the longest one we've done. But as I said at the beginning, it feels like no time has passed at all. As soon as you start talking, it just disappears. But Alba,
I agree with that.
Yeah, I'd like to say thank you very much for joining us. It's been an honor having you on the podcast. And Carina, thank you for co-hosting.
No, thank you.
And
thank you,
we will be back next week, won't we?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so.
rock and roll.
Yeah, we are.
So if anyone that's still tuned in, tune in next week. Join us again. And again, thank you, Alba.
Besitos, Alba. Gracias.
Thank you, guys.
Links
Thank you,
in the
thank you.
post below on where to buy the books and stuff like that. So you can check out Alba's book, which is available. And see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all very much.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Cheers.